Imagine you just scored an amazing deal on your first cruise, $700 for a week in the Caribbean. Sounds perfect, right? But then you took the cruise, you got your bill at the end, and somehow you owe them $2,000. Today on Travel Tip Tuesday, I'm exposing 7 hidden secrets that can skyrocket your cruise vacation costs. These are charges that made my jaw drop on my first sailing. And I don't want you to have the same shock when you get your bill. So grab a pen because these are the real costs that those flashy cruise deals never show you. Trust me, your future self is gonna thank you for watching this video right now. Let's talk about beverages. Here's what shocks most new cruisers about beverages on board your cruise. Your cruise fare typically only covers basic tap water, coffee, tea, and sometimes juice, lemonade, fruit juices, things like that. Everything else, extra. You want a Coke with your lunch? That'll be $4. You craving a pina colada while you by the pool? That's gonna run you about $12 to $15 per drink. Even bottled water can cost you money. Don't walk into your cruise cabinet and pop open that bottle of water that's on that desk. You are gonna have to pay for that. Read that price tag, because there is a price tag. This is where those amazing cruise deals really start to add up fast. Now, cruise lines offer beverage packages that help with these costs, but if one person buys the package, the other person typically has to buy the package too if it's an alcohol package. Yes, even if your spouse barely drinks, they're still gonna have to buy the alcohol package if you buy it. A pop package or soda or whatever you call it. You can pay around $9 to $12 per person per day for that kind of package, and an actual alcohol beverage package somewhere around $65 to $120 a day. Our advice, do the math before you buy these packages, and remember that most cruise lines will let you bring a small amount of your own beverages on board. This varies by cruise line though, so make sure you read the guidelines for your particular sailing. Now, you might be thinking, at least I can get all the food for free on my cruise, right? No, wrong. Specialty restaurants like steakhouses, Italian spots, or sushi bars, those come with cover charges, and those range anywhere from $30 to $60 a person, sometimes even up to $75. Some of these restaurants even charge a la carte prices. They're fantastic for special occasions, definitely not something you want to surprise your budget with every night. You might be thinking, oh, that's fine, I'll just stick to the main dining room. Well, here's what most first-timers also don't realize. There are items on the main dining menu that can come with an upcharge as well. They usually are marked with a little asterisk, and if you're not paying attention, you might not realize that there's a charge for those until the waiter brings you the ticket for the item, or worse, until you see it on your bill at the end of the cruise. The first timer tip, want to enjoy those premium dishes without the extra cost? A lot of times, many cruise lines will have a lobster night, and you can get the lobster for free on that night. That usually happens on 7-day or longer sailing. Some cruise lines will give it to you on shorter cruises as well, but typically it's for 7-day or longer cruises. Check in your cruise app or your daily planner to see if that lobster night is going to take place on your cruise, and if so, when. Also, consider specialty dining for lunch visits, because the pricing is a little bit cheaper for lunchtime and you get the same delicious food, maybe not as many options, but it's still the same quality of food at a reduced cost. Some exceptions are restaurants on Virgin, which do come included with your cruise fare. There's a few more hidden costs for us to talk about, but before we do that, let me invite you to subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost you anything, but it helps us so much. Go ahead and click that subscribe button and become a member of the family. And if you're looking for a little bit something extra, something more, click that join button and become a channel member. That's gonna give you exclusive access to behind the scenes content, firsthand knowledge of our travel plans, and even more. Click that join button, become a channel member. Now let's get back to the video. Let's talk about staying connected at sea. Here's something that surprises a lot of first-time cruisers. Ship Wi-Fi isn't just expensive, it is really expensive. And no, your regular cell phone service will not cut it here. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. Basic internet packages typically start around $15 to $20 a day. And if you want to stream like Netflix or FaceTime people back home, now you're looking at premium packages that run around $25 to $30 a day per device. Now, nobody tells you about cruise ship internet. It's slower than what you're used to at home. It's getting better over the years, but it's still not quite like being on your home internet. You can typically only use one device at a time unless you pay for a multi-device plan, and those unlimited packages often have speed caps on them. Even basic social media can eat through limited data packages very, very quickly. Here's a tip. If you buy your internet package before you get on the ship, you can often save 20 to 30% on the cost. But here's my real money saving hack. Consider whether you really need the internet every day. Many ports have cafes or restaurants where you can access free Wi-Fi, and some cruise lines offer messaging apps that work ship-wide without an internet plan, where you can communicate with your friends and family on board without having to pay internet charges. Your vacation might actually be a bit more enjoyable if you unplug a little bit. But if you need to stay connected, go ahead and plan ahead and budget for it so that it doesn't catch you off guard. Now let's talk about what happens when you forget to put your phone in airplane mode at sea. Trust me, this is a mistake that you will only make one time. Your regular cell phone device just doesn't stop working when you're in the middle of the ocean. It will instead connect to the ship's service, the ship's cellular service network. And those rates, you don't even want to know those rates. They're enough to ruin anyone's vacation. We're talking about $2 to $5 a minute for calls, $1 to $2 per text, and data rates that could cost you hundreds of dollars for just checking your email one time. Here's some tips to avoid phone bill shock. Put your phone in airplane mode as soon as you board the ship. And if you can't do it as soon as you board, definitely do it before you sail away from that port. And then double check that it's in airplane mode and keep it there. Another tip, download your cruise line's app before you sail. Many of them offer free onboard messaging to stay in touch with your friends and family on board, like we mentioned earlier. No internet package needed for that. Now let's talk about something you might not even think about until you're thirsty. We hinted at it a little earlier. Water. Yes, there's perfectly good tap water available on the ship, but if you prefer bottled water, listen up. Unless you pre-purchase the case of bottled water, that bottled water that's in your room is going to cost you money. They are not included. Those bottles can be around $4 to $7 per bottle, which is crazy to me. Now imagine you're spending a day in port and you need multiple bottles of water for multiple family members. That can add up very, very quickly. Here's a tip for staying hydrated without breaking the bank. Bring your own reusable water bottle and fill it up at free water stations around the ship. Also, check your cruise line's restrictions. Many will let you bring water on board. It just can't be bottled, but you can bring cartons or cans in most occasions. Last but not least, let's talk about something that can really sneak up on you: fuel supplements. With fuel prices constantly changing, cruise lines can sometimes pass those costs directly on to passengers. These charges usually appear as a fuel supplement on your final bill, typically running around $10 to $15 a person. And yes, just like gratuities, this applies to every person in your cabin. Here's what makes fuel charges tricky. They can be added even after you've already booked your cruise. The cruise lines usually reserve this right in their contract, which means that amazing deal you booked might not be quite as amazing as you thought. Make sure you always read the fine print in your cruise contract. But here's the good news. Now that you know about all of these hidden costs, you can plan for them. My biggest tip for first-time cruisers: do your research before you book and budget for those extras from the start. That way you can truly relax and enjoy your vacation without any surprises. Those charges at the end that jump up out of nowhere, you don't want that. And I highly encourage first-time cruisers to book with a travel advisor who is knowledgeable in cruising. I'm a travel advisor. My husband Ray is a travel advisor. We can help you with planning your next cruise vacation. All you have to do is email booking@teamreachetravels.com or scan the QR code on the screen to submit a cruise quote request. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button and hit the subscribe button for more cruise and travel tips every Tuesday and new travel vlogs every Sunday. Drop a comment down below if you have any questions about cruise costs, or share your own tips for saving money at sea, because we want your tips too, because we be trying to save every dollar we can. Until next time, Team Reese all day.